Hey everyone, just sort of make this video quickly before I go to sleep because it's nearly midnight here. I just wanted to bring up the issue of flight MH17 that was shot down over Ukraine. There were 37 Australians on board. I think 9 of them were residents and the rest citizens. I think I've got those numbers right. There were also Dutch nationals, Indonesian nationals, I think some British people. I'm not sure about the rest of the passengers. But it's affected a lot of countries, and what's been happening, you're probably already aware, is that investigators are being denied access to the crash site. These Russian-backed rebels are refusing people to have a look around to see what's going on. And we're getting horror stories of bodies being removed, the black box being removed, people's possessions being stolen, things like phones and cameras, which would be very precious to the relatives. Not the cameras and stuff themselves, but because it'd probably be video footage of it, the last few days and weeks of their loved ones that the families would love to have, and that these people who are stealing them have no right to have. You know, if you lost somebody in a horrible accident, but you were able to recover their phone and get the last few existing photos of them, pull them off, you'd have that to keep for the rest of your life to remember them by. But it's what I really want to bring up is Russia's seemingly flat-out denial to provide any assistance to allow people access to the crash site. And it seems more so than not that Russia could be directly or indirectly involved in bringing down of that plane, especially if they supplied the weapon. Now you've got all these things happening, as well as the investigators not being allowed access to the site. You've got things being removed and bodies being tampered with, and it's very disturbing. Obviously, someone's trying to cover their own tracks, and the longer this goes on, the less likely that these people are going to be brought to justice. And our Prime Minister was asked a question on a show called 60 Minutes by a journalist. Could Russia be forced to allow people access to the crash site? And that might have to happen. Like, this is an act of terrorism. Somebody's got to be brought to account. And more than likely, it's going to be the Russian government. This cannot go on. You know, somebody's got to be made to pay. And at the moment, there's a lot of talk going on. Our Prime Minister is trying to get Vladimir Putin on the phone. I don't think he's had any luck lately. The ambassador has been telling our Prime Minister off, rebuking him, saying, oh, you can't blame Russia for this, blah, 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 blah. It's just really bad times, and I feel for all the families who have lost loved ones and friends in this horrible act. This was an act of mass murder. This was no accident. And I don't want to get into conspiracy theories on that, but it could be a very deliberate act to start a war, because Russia really does not want Ukraine, you know, to become a Western nation like most of Europe is. They want to keep it as a communist buffer zone, and so they really don't want Ukraine to become like, say, France, Germany, and all the rest. And it's very bad times ahead, you know. And when somebody is finally, the finger of blame is finally and squarely put on a nation, probably Russia, it could be very, very ugly in Europe and a lot of other places. Vladimir Putin seems to be a very arrogant man, and the president of, or the leader of Iran, you know, with his arrogance. This on the pinnacle of like a war breaking out with that kind of mentality that these people have. I really hope that Vladimir Putin is not involved, and that he does provide assistance in bringing these people to justice. If he's had nothing to do with it, of course. If not, well, then he has to be tried in The Hague as a war criminal. I think that's in accordance with international law. But we'll see if that happens. It's a really ugly time internationally. I've flown over Europe back in 1999 on my way to England. I don't know if I flew over Ukraine, but I've flown over Europe. you know, and so have lots of other people. And I guess it's just, I don't want to say the word luck. I don't want to sound insensitive, but it's just, it could have happened to any one of us who have flown over Europe. It's just wrong place and the wrong time. And these murderers, as I said, they need to be brought to account. Sorry for such a grim video. These are my thoughts. Place yours if you want. You mightn't agree with me. I've said some pretty provocative things, but when your country's had lots of its civilians murdered, and you have the head of the Russian state not trying to help or do anything whatsoever to assist us in bringing those to justice that cause us travesty, one really has to wonder. Good night. God bless.